This is Trevor Benko, CEO of TGB Supplements.
This is Ben Jordan, COO, TGB Supplements.
And today we're going to touch on a research chemical that's gaining popularity out there. It's probably one of the newer ones on the market currently, RAD140, also named Radarine, Testalone. Anything else you can think of? I think that pretty much covers it all, right?
All the names, yep.
Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, this is a research chemical. This isn't medical advice. It's just our opinion. Some of the things that we've seen, reading the research and studies out there. So, get into it. Radarine is something that is dosed usually in 10 milligrams, either in a liquid. Some companies are selling it in a capsule, which, as a research chemical is kind of a sketchy thing. Because it kind of shows that it's for human use.
Right.
But let's say if you do have a research chemical, Radarine, and it's in a liquid form, usually it's dosed 10 to 30 milligrams per day. It can all be dosed at one time because it has a long half-life. I'm not sure exactly how long that is.
I want to say it's like 8 to 10 hours.
Is it 8 to 10?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's best to dose it, around the workout from what I've read. Also, Radarine's a little different than some of the other SARMs. It's actually being studied to replace testosterone down the road. It could actually be a form of androgen replacement therapy or hormone replacement therapy. It caught my eye just because of some of the unique things about it. When I say that, what I'm talking about is the fact that it could be used in conjunction with other anabolics like testosterone and even prevent some of their side effects. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. Using the RAD, in the studies that they've shown, it's actually helped mitigate some of the DHT-based side effects that a person would have with testosterone, meaning the prostate. It helps the prostate not be affected as much from a testosterone usage. Say somebody on TRT using the RAD, if they was using something like the Finish the RAD, they might not have to use the Finish the RAD with the RAD. It does have a 90 to 1 anabolic to androgenic ratio, meaning it's 90 times more anabolic than it is androgenic. I think it has a really high binding affinity for the androgen receptor, yes. So that could displace some of the testosterone that would be binding to that androgen receptor. So that's going to boost your free test indirectly. So you could have a estrogenic side effect from that. So you might have to bump up your anti-estrogen usage from having more free testosterone through your bloodstream. So a lot of the compounds, like say a methylstembolone or a masteron, something like that, that is DHT based that doesn't convert to estrogen. You hear about guys having estrogenic side effects. It's indirectly. It's from them having a greater binding affinity for the androgen receptor. So it just leaves more testosterone flowing through the bloodstream that you need to bump up your aromatase inhibitor to keep that testosterone from converting to estrogen.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a fact. And that's one of the things that makes the Radarine pretty cool. If you're using it with testosterone, not only are you going to get more of an anabolic effect, it's almost like a mild oral steroid. I would say, maybe compare to something like Turnabol.
Yeah, or like a mild dose of dimethazine, something like that.
So it's something that's going to give you pretty clean, dry gains. It is pretty anabolic, and the androgenic side is so low that it's actually something that could probably even be used by women. I don't know if they'll ever experiment with that.
Yeah, I haven't seen nothing like that yet myself.
But I know that with that kind of a low androgenic rating, it could be something that women may want to look into for performance enhancing. It's something that, like Ben was saying, it actually can help reverse some of the negative effects of testosterone when it comes to the prostate. It can actually prevent prostate enlargement from what we're seeing in the studies. Most of the studies have been done on mice, so not a whole lot of human research that has been done so far. But I believe it's, as far as we know, there are no known side effects.
No.
And I've even read in some places where they say it's not suppressive. Now, I'm not sure, if I believe that 100%. Yeah. I think it's probably got some suppression if it's building muscle. Anything that's actually causing, muscle growth is probably going to be suppressive to your natural levels to some extent, I would believe. But overall, I mean, it looks like a pretty cool compound that actually will give you good, clean results with very minimal side effects. No liver toxicity, no effect as far as growth on the prostate, and it can be even used with testosterone replacement and even prevent some of those side effects from the DHT conversion. And like Ben was saying, instead of taking finasteride, which has a ton of side effects you don't want to use unless you have to, this could be something that you could take, not only build more muscle, but still have the same positive effects of lowering the DHT, or at least the DHT's effect on the prostate.
Yeah, I mean that could be something that'd be beneficial if guys would play with that a little bit. You might only have to take, say, 10 milligrams of RAD with your TRT to mitigate some of that DHT side effect.
Or you could even take 20 or 30 milligrams of the Radarine and drop your testosterone down to maybe 100 milligrams a week, or even 75 milligrams a week, to prevent some of the other side effects like the elevated hematocrit, issues like that.
Yeah, there's lots of usages it could be done with the RAD140. It's really potent for loading glycogen too. That is one thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're doing maybe a low carb diet or say a keto, it might not be the greatest thing to do just because you don't have that glycogen there to be loaded in the muscle. You go hypoglycemic, not really a good thing. Won't be feeling too good.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it could be good using it with those types of diet, because the carbs that you do take in, maybe not a keto diet, but like a carb cycling diet, you can actually shuttle those carbs more efficiently if you time them right when your insulin sensitivity is at its highest. So first thing in the morning, maybe after your workouts, you may be able to get more shuttling from those carbs that you do take in, prevents you from feeling really run down. Trying to think, as far as performance enhancing effects, that we kind of talked about using it with testosterone for replacement effects and benefits. As far as performance enhancing effects, I think guys are using it that we've seen on their own, 20-30 milligrams, and it does give you some pretty clean lean gains. Nothing crazy. I mean, I haven't seen anything too.
Nah, I mean, I used
extreme.
I used it myself when it first came out on the market. I think it was about 6 or 8 months ago. I did 20 to 30 milligrams. It was mild, maybe like 5 pounds gained. Like Trevor was saying, it's really clean. It's like a Turnaball. I'd compare it to like low dose of dimethazine. I used dimethazine before. With the glycogen loading, really full pumps, decent strength gain off of it. You do get a little bit of a lethargic feeling around the 2nd or 3rd week. That's pretty common with the guys, but it's a pretty clean product overall.
And without the side effects.
Right.
I mean, that's the most important part. There's almost no side effects known. Well, there are none known that I've heard. So, I mean, that's the main key with this product here. Unfortunately, it is a research chemical. It's not something that we carry in our store. But it's out there. People are using it, so we wanted to kind of cover it a little bit, talk about it. We find it's interesting. It's something that we we like ourselves. We're kind of all for the advancement in anabolics and bettering our performance. So it's something that caught our eye.
Yeah, the SARMs, they're the next wave generation of things, so we're going to be touching on those more.
Yeah.
Once all the anabolics and pro-hormones are gone, and SARMs, that's going to be all that's left.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many more SARMs out there. There's new ones coming out. There's a new one that we've just heard of recently. It's called LGD3033. That's another one that's really interesting. I mean, it's got some serious potency.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting claims of 2 to 3 times as potent as the original LGD4033, which puts a pretty decent size on some guys.
Yeah, so we're interested in that. Once we learn a little bit more and we see more with it, we may do another video on that. But like Ben said, this is the direction I think things are heading. A lot of professional athletes are using SARMs now. They can get away with some of them and still pass their drug tests, some of them. And it just, there's just a lot of benefits, a lot less side effects. They're selective androgen receptor modulators, so they're not hitting all the androgen receptors in the body like an anabolic steroid does. They're only selectively targeting skeletal muscle and bone, which makes it a very mild yet potent product.
Yeah, I mean, that could even be beneficial for elderly people, you know what I mean, with the bone density thing.
Osteoporosis
yeah, that
and
would
stuff.
be real beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, there's a lot of uses. Eventually, I think we're going to see these as prescribed drugs. They're not going to be, eventually I'm sure the loophole will close with the research chemicals, that kind of thing. And with it being a research chemical, you never know what you're getting. So that's the worst part. You can't really trust these companies out there because you don't know what you're getting. And they're out there to make the money, and that's why they're selling it in the gray market. A lot of these guys, like we said, some of them are even putting it in capsules, so they know what you're doing with it. And with that being the case, it's hard to really trust a company and put your money there and actually ingest a product. But if you are getting real, true Radarine, it should be very mild, and it should give you decent results. So
yeah, I mean, that's something, like you were saying, with the authenticity of the products, how like the Anabolic Cartel, something like that could be really beneficial for you guys, because we'll have that information of different brands, their quality, you know what I mean, the experience that guys have had with that. These guys have had decades of usage, so they're going to kind of know the ins and out and which brands are kind of reputable. So, I mean, that'd be a good spot that you can kind of check into first to see if a product's really good.
Yeah, and Ben's talking about the Anabolic Cartel. I mean, that's the shirts we have on here. We did another video talking about the Anabolic Cartel, so if you're interested in that, check it out on YouTube. We may even put the link below. But it's going to be a forum and a podcast with a lot of information for guys that are interested in performance enhancing. So keep an eye out for that. There will be a lot on there. So I think that pretty much covers it for the RAD140. And if you guys have any more questions, you can always shoot us a comment, email us, call us. We look forward to hearing from you. So for now, that's it. We'll be in touch with you soon.